Philadelphia's Nick Foles become the first ex-Wildcat quarterback to win a Super Bowl. How could the U of A be so stupid to let Rich Rod meet with his former players to allegedly berate his sexual harassment accuser after he was fired? A humanitarian aid worker is arrested just hours after a released video shows Border Patrol agents destroying water jugs. Coincidence or retaliation? These stories and more next on the 520. Welcome to the 520. I'm Steve Nunez.
I'm Artie Mata the Fourth. Thanks for joining us. And Steve, really digging the thread tonight.
I put away my Arizona Wildcat scarf to put on this beautiful specialty jersey.
Whatever does
it's part of Salute to the Olympics night. The Tucson Roadrunners take it on the Chicago Wolves on Saturday. The puck drops at 7:05, and of course, don't forget, February 9th, the winter games start, and you can only watch those games right here, KVOA News for Tucson. So, you ready to get started?
Of course.
Let's get started, man. The city of brotherly love is now showing the same love to Nick Foles as the city of the 520. Philadelphia Eagles quarterback went from backup to championship game hero as the first Wildcat QB to lead his team to the Super Bowl. Foles silenced his critics by destroying the best defense in the NFL, blowing out Minnesota 38-7 in the NFC title game. Former Wildcat passed for 352 yards and 3 touchdowns. The big question now becomes, can Foles beat the Patriots' Tom Brady, the greatest by far of all time, to become the first Wildcat quarterback to win a Super Bowl? Say yes.
And no
Please
way
say
he's
so.
going to do it. I'm not even being frank. I'm not being blunt. There's no way he's going to do that. I quite frankly don't even think.
You are a Nick Foles hater.
I don't even think that he played that sweeping of a game against Minnesota. I think it was credit to a lot of other people other than Nick Foles.
352 yards.
Yes.
Completed 75% of his passes. Guess what? There's only been 2 quarterbacks in NFL history to complete 75% of the passes in back-to-back playoff games.
Yeah, and what we're looking
Guess
at
who's number 1?
Credit to Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Aguilar, Zach Ertz, not to mention a defense that held Case Keenum to nearly under 3 possessions with a score. Is that not credit to him? Not to mention the pocket collapsing limited times, and when it did, it was a 3-man rush. All he had to do was step in the pocket.
Over 3 passes of 40-plus yards, and that's sweet.
And they had
55-yard touchdown pass.
They had room to twirl a cane when that happened. The flea flicker, I will give him credit on that to Torrey Smith. Fantastic throw, put it right in the breadbasket. Other than that, passes to Jeffrey in the end zone. That run right before the half. A lot of broken coverage, a lot of busted coverage by Minnesota. Not too much. He played a fantastic game.
Eagles defense shows up, helps Foles win the Super Bowl. Plain and simple. They stopped Brady.
He played a great game, played a fantastic game. Will not discredit him for that. Do I think he can dethrone Tom Brady with the tangible skills that he has? No, I do not. Do I think he played a better game than Case Keenum? No, I do not.
All right, well, Super Bowl Sunday is now Bear Down Sunday in Tucson. That's because not 1, not 2, but 3 former Wildcats are playing for a ring in Super Bowl 52. Foles and his Eagles will play against former Wildcats Rob Gronkowski and linebacker Marquise Flowers with the New England Patriots. What do you think? Who are you going for?
Right off the bat.
Obviously not Foles. Come on, man.
You know, and that's the thing is Flowers. It would be good to see Flowers make some plays on Sunday. Gronkowski, we've seen this guy. He works at Dunkin' Donuts practically, so it wouldn't be bad to see Flowers get something going.
You have to give Foles credit. Here's why I think you're a hater. Here's why. Because Foles becomes the first quarterback from Arizona to lead his team to the Super Bowl. Guess what? Here's a fact for you. Not one single USC quarterback, there you go, has never led a team to the Super Bowl. And that's why you're hating on Foles.
Yeah, and while that may be true, I still got to root for the Pac-12. The Pac-12 does have 9 Super Bowl winners, yep. Stanford, Cal, Washington State, UCLA. The Pac-12 shines monstrously with that one, but no comment.
Okay, 9 Super Bowls, make it 10. Foles is going to win his first Super Bowl. All right, here we go. Are we really surprised? New Arizona football coach Kevin Sumlin is cleaning house and bringing in his own loyal coaching staff. No, we're not. But the Wildcats are expected to hire Oklahoma's co-offensive coordinator, Cale Gundy, seen right there. He's been with Oklahoma since 1999. But perhaps the biggest coup for Sumlin so far after week 1 on the job, he's hit the recruiting trail to secure all 16 recruits who committed under Rich Rod. His first stop, Vail, to meet with promising star QB Jamari Joyner. Many are calling him the next Khalil Tate and the backup to Khalil Tate once Khalil Tate leaves school. Arizona also landed a transfer from Nebraska, Keyshawn Johnson Jr., 4-star recruit and son of former NFL star receiver Keyshawn Johnson, came to Arizona to play for Sumlin. He's doing a good job.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what that does at the least, if it's not securing the future, it's securing for right now because it adds a ton of depth to Arizona's football roster, which very heavily diluted under Rich Rodriguez. There were some injuries here, there were some injuries there, and they had nobody to come up off the bench. These guys add great depth, and I'm glad to see that they secured the bag.
And, you know, you have to give Rich Rod credit for getting some good recruits. But, I mean, Sumlin really has to get credit for keeping them because a lot of people were ready to leave and pull that trigger and just leave Arizona. But look, they're staying, and now they seem more excited than ever to play for Sumlin.
He's a player's coach, like we said. Yeah, I agree. That's what they like.
That. Well, you just can't make this stuff up. A new report reveals former Arizona football coach Rich Rodriguez and his wife were allowed by the U of A to meet with players, defend his sexual harassment allegations after he was fired. Now it could cost the U of A $8.5 million instead of the $7.5 million in the original notice of claim. So according to ESPN, the additional allegations accuse Rich Rod of slander, defamation and false light, invasion of privacy and intentional infliction, and emotional distress. The alleged victim's attorney, Agustin B. Jimenez III, stated, quote, "If this case were to go to trial in the current climate where #MeToo is in the headlines on a daily basis, neither male or female jurors would have any sympathy for any public figure who uses authority and power to oppress and degrade his female assistant in such ways," end quote. Rich Rod can't keep his mouth shut, responded on Twitter stating, quote, "My family and I are eager for our side of the story to be told. The truth will come out and the plainest motives will be plain to see," end quote. If you're his lawyer, how do you not keep his mouth shut? Seriously.
He's a hard guy to contain. We just talked about his arrogance last week, and it goes to show. I mean, this is exactly what the university didn't like about him. People don't change, obviously. But you're right. I mean, his representation has got to get a hold on this guy. They got to at least keep him locked in the hotel room or something.
I mean, it's like he's trying to litigate his case out on Twitter, almost as though he's making gains or trying to prove something. It's not proving a thing to anybody because right now, again,
the odds are against him.
The first claim was for $7.5 million, now it's for $8.5 million. I don't think the university is in a position to be dealing with Rich Rod. And more important, who lets a fired coach back in the locker room?
Pathetic.
Pathetic is right. Well, did patience pay off, or did the Arizona Cardinals blow it by hiring a defensive coordinator over an offensive-minded quarterbacks coach? Well, the Birds named Carolina Panthers defensive coordinator Steve Wilks as their new coach. Wilks, 48, agreed to a 4-year contract with a team option for a 5th year. Wilks inherits a defense that has finished in the top 10 the last 3 years. I just do not like this hire.
I don't like it either.
Dumb hire.
First off, though, if you're Chandler Jones, if you're Buda Baker, some of the young hotshots on the defensive side of the ball, you're licking your chops. He's a defensive mind. We've seen what he can do with Josh Norman, with Luke Kuechly. Their defense is licking their chops. The offense on the other side, they have a lot of work to do.
Exactly. And why would you hire a coach and think that he's going to come into Arizona and make a difference when Arizona, again, already has the top 10 defense in the last 3 years?
Yeah, and it's just,
what are you going to improve? What we need is a quarterback.
It's showing that they're looking 5 years ahead instead of 5 months ahead.
They
have a 5-year
today
plan.
Culture, or you're done in the NFL. Period.
They're trying to rebuild. They're trying to clean house.
There's
Let's
no
start this
rebuilding
thing
in the NFL.
over.
Seriously, and what gets me is that Cardinals could have waited just a couple more weeks to hire maybe a championship Eagles offensive coordinator, Mike DiFilippo, and bring Nick Foles to Arizona, baby.
There
That's
he
what I'm
goes
talking
again.
about.
Keep it in church.
All right. Well, the Cardiac Cats did it again with a heart-stopping 73-71 win over Stanford. Arizona is now in sole possession of first place in the Pac-12. The Cats started off strong against the Cardinal, up 12 points with just over 10 minutes in the first half, but Cats regressed back into their old habits. We are seeing highlights from Oregon there, but guess what? Cats in the second half got dominated on the low post against Stanford, and with dribble penetration over the next 21 minutes, we're down by 11 in the second half. Then Miller got a technical called on him. All of a sudden, the Cats responded, hit some timely shots, stepped it up on defense, and pulled off the last-second victory, 73-71. Got to give Miller some props, though, because he finally got his team to play for him, which he's been complaining about all year long, that they haven't done.
You know, and I'll tell you what, we're not talking too much about Arizona State anymore, are we?
I love the fact that we're not talking about Arizona State. They're already downslide to number 21, lost to Stanford, and guess what? Arizona's moving up. But I really like the way Arizona is playing. Obviously, not the entire game. They're not playing the way they should be for 40 minutes, but they show signs of being able to, for the first time under Sean Miller's 9-year tenure, beat the zone. Thanks to...
And it's good. It's a change of pace against the opposing team, and you can tell Stanford was completely unprepared for that. That's a good call by him.
I agree. Well, we have an update on the FBI investigation impacting Arizona basketball. U of A officially fired Book Richardson, Sean Miller's longtime assistant coach. Now, Richardson had been on paid leave after the FBI arrested him back in September on fraud and bribery charges. He is accused of taking 20 grand to pay at least one recruit to play for Arizona. Now faces 60 years in prison and a $1.5 million fine if found guilty.
The university, the team itself, they're so ahead of that. They're so past that. They're already looking to the future. They're already over him.
You know, I agree with you. Done with Book Richardson. He's fired. We all knew it. But shame on Arizona, and we'll get into that a little bit later, for not telling the media 10 days ago. It's almost like sweeping this under the rug. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the next 3 games for Arizona. Colorado on Thursday, Buffaloes. This is a big game. Payback for the Buffaloes. Saturday, they take on the Utah Utes, and then next Wednesday, Washington State Cougars. But all talk right now is bad blood brewing between Arizona's Sean Miller and Colorado's coach, Tad Boyles, for his comment claiming it was sweet victory to beat Arizona because they are named in the FBI investigation.
Jeez.
Right?
Great,
yeah.
great.
Let's see some fisticuffs. All right, let's jump right into Do We Care? As you know, by now we're not just a sports show. We like to sprinkle in a few community issues, break them down, and ask ourselves, do we care? So I'll get started. A Democratic state lawmaker is proposing a bill that would make Arizona the 10th state to ban conversion therapy, which is the treatment that aims to turn someone who is gay straight. Do we care?
Yeah, of course we care. That's first of all, that's ridiculous. Second of all, I mean, are we surprised at the least when we have people like Pence, we have people like Trump in the Oval Office who cannot for the life of them separate the church from the state, and they're constantly bringing up this, they're constantly bringing up everything else. So are we surprised that this has to be something that we need to ban?
It is, because it's becoming something that the religious right have been pushing. But there's no proof that it works. And it's just so hypocritical of the religious folks to come forward and say, oh, we're going to shove religion down your throat and make you turn straight, even though you were gay or may have been born a certain way. And I just find that to be the most ridiculous thing. And it just says, you know what? If our state lawmakers are having to pay attention to this, it's ridiculous. Find something to do with funding education or improving our streets or improving our education, anything. But this, Pathetic.
There we go, there we go.
All right.
And were we ever really surprised Tucson didn't make Amazon's final list of 20 cities where it plans to open its second headquarters, invest $5 billion, and employ 50,000 workers?
I only care about the prospect and the pipe dream of bringing 50,000 jobs to Tucson. But you know what? I don't care because we never really had a chance to bring Amazon 50,000 jobs and a $5 billion investment to Tucson. I mean, for heaven's sake, we sent them a saguaro cactus that they sent right back to us that is now sitting at, what is it, Desert Museum or somewhere?
Yeah,
I mean,
the infrastructure is terrible in town. There's no land space. There's no nothing. All
right, the humanitarian group No More Deaths claims it caught Border Patrol agents on camera destroying water jugs and tossing away food and blankets left in the desert for immigrants crossing illegally. Do we care?
Yeah, at this point, we have to care. It's no more politics. No more are you Democratic or Republican? Where do you feel against illegal aliens? You have to be a human at this point. You have to ask yourself, am I being a humanitarian at this point? This is downright pathetic.
Well, it just pisses me off that the Border Patrol denies that its agents did anything wrong, and they know darn well that they have a policy that says do not mess with any humanitarian or humanitarian aid that is provided for these immigrants crossing illegally. That way they don't have to go out and save lives as much as they're already having to do.
Agreed.
All right. Well, you've heard the phrase, oh, no, you didn't. Well, here at the 520, we're not afraid to tell it like it is with, oh, yes, we did. Once again, just when the U of A athletic department had an opportunity to win back trust within the community, they blew it again. Turns out, U of A officially fired Book Richardson back on January 11th, as we just reported. Richardson is Sean Miller's longtime assistant coach. Richardson had appealed his suspension back in September after the FBI arrested him for taking bribe money to pay recruits. Look, we all knew he was going to get fired. It was just a formality and not a secret to anyone with the pulse on U of A sports. So why did the U of A public university, wait 10 days to release information to the media and to you, the public? In my opinion, two reasons. One, arrogance. Two, it shows again a pattern of behavior that implies a perception of cover-up within the U of A athletic department. Oh, yes, I went there.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. And last Sunday, Nick Foles, the former Arizona quarterback, prevailed in Minnesota. He now has in his grasp the ability to dethrone Tom Brady and the New England Patriot dynasty. Let's say hypothetically he does. He's a Super Bowl champion, possibly a Super Bowl MVP, and now he's on a flight back to Philly to get off the plane and just be another backup quarterback. Because of this, he's not one of the hot free agents in the offseason. He's not on any GM's radar. And just because all he's doing is back to being Carson Wentz backup. Nick, if I were you, I'd march right up to my GM's office and make it very clear. The second you touch down back in Philly, tell him, I have to do what's best for me. I have to find another team. You're welcome for the ring, boss. I need to put myself in the best position to get another one. You'd be perfect for Kansas City, make a great addition to Washington, but please stay away from Arizona. You need something right now. You don't need something 5 years from now.
You're done with this, man. What Nick Foles
stay away.
March into GM.
Kansas City's.
No, he needs to march into Glendale Stadium, right into Michael Bidwill's office and say, I want to be Arizona Cardinals' next quarterback next year because, look it, bling, bling.
Eesh.
I won the Super Bowl, baby. It's going to happen. All right, bottom line, our goal is to tell it like it is because it's all about giving voice to opinions, even if you don't agree. I'm Steve Nunez.
And I'm Marty Mata IV. Join us next week on the 520.